It was just another cold, dreary evening. Adam was trudging home from another long day at the office, the city lights blurring through the drizzle on his glasses. He was lost in his own world, thinking about bills, deadlines, and the crushing monotony of it all. As he turned onto his usual shortcut, a quiet side street, something on the pavement caught his eye. A small, black bag. It was sleek, made of what looked like expensive leather, and utterly out of place on the grimy, wet concrete. At first, he just walked past it. It's none of my business, he thought, probably just some trash. But he only made it a few steps before a nagging curiosity stopped him in his tracks. He glanced back. The bag seemed to almost glisten under the dim streetlight, calling to him. Against his better judgment, he turned around, his footsteps echoing in the empty street. He crouched down, his heart starting to beat a little faster. This wasn't just some forgotten lunch bag. It felt heavy, solid. He picked it up. With trembling fingers, Adam unzipped it. The first thing he saw was a thick, manila envelope. He pulled it out, his breath catching in his throat. It was stuffed, absolutely packed, with cash. Stacks of $100 bills. More money than he'd ever seen in his life. But underneath the envelope, there was something else. A single, folded piece of paper. He unfolded it. The note was written in stark, block letters. It said, "You have 24 hours. Don't tell anyone." A shiver ran down his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. His mind reeled. Who left this here? Why? Was this a trap? A test? He quickly zipped the bag shut, clutching it to his chest, and scanned the street. The alleyways seemed darker, the shadows longer. Every flicker of a distant headlight, every rustle of leaves in the wind, felt like a threat. He felt a sudden, primal urge to run. He sprinted the rest of the way home, the bag banging against his side, the weight of its contents feeling heavier with every step. He slammed his apartment door shut, leaning against it, panting. He tossed the bag on his coffee table and stared at it as if it were a venomous snake. What was he supposed to do? The money, it could solve everything. His debts, his cramped apartment, his dead-end job. It was a ticket to a new life. But the note, 24 hours. 24 hours for what? And the warning, don't tell anyone. His mind was a battlefield of greed versus fear. As the night wore on, the fear began to win. His phone, which rarely rang after 9 p.m., started buzzing incessantly. Each time, it was an unknown number. He'd answer, his voice shaking, only to be met with dead silence on the other end. The line would go dead. After the fifth call, he threw his phone on the couch and tried to ignore it, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He'd peek through his blinds, and swear he saw a figure standing across the street, just outside the reach of the streetlights, dissolving back into the shadows the moment he looked. Was he imagining it? The paranoia was suffocating. Sleep was impossible. He spent the night pacing, the bag sitting on his table like a dark monument to his terrible decision. By dawn, he had made up his mind. This was too much. The money wasn't worth this terror. He had to get rid of it. Tell someone, anyone, the police. That was the answer. He'd just walk in, hand over the bag, and pretend he never saw the note. He grabbed the bag and headed out into the pale morning light. The city was waking up, but to Adam, it felt like a dream world. The walk to the police station was agonizing. He felt like every person he passed knew his secret, their eyes boring into him. He finally reached the station, a sense of relief washing over him. He pulled on the heavy glass door. It was locked. He pulled again, harder. Nothing. A hastily printed sign was taped to the door, closed due to major system failure. All services suspended. We apologize for the inconvenience. System failure. It felt too convenient, too perfect. A cold dread seeped into his bones. He was trapped. There was no one to tell, nowhere to go. He turned away from the station, the bag feeling like it was burning a hole in his hand. As he walked back into the crowded streets, he felt it again, the unmistakable sensation of being followed. This time, he was sure. A man in a long dark coat was keeping pace with him, always a half-block behind, his face obscured by a le-brimmed hat. Adam's heart hammered against his ribs. The 24-hour countdown was ticking in his head. What happened when the time was up? He was caught in a web he couldn't see, pulled by strings he didn't understand. He had a choice to make, and fast. Keep the money and dive deeper into this dangerous game, accepting whatever consequences came with it, or try to uncover the truth behind the bag and the note, a truth that seemed to get darker and more complex with every passing minute. He looked at the ticking clock on a nearby tower. He had less than 12 hours left. He realized with a chilling certainty that finding the bag wasn't an accident. He had been chosen. Now he had to figure out why before his time ran out. As he ducked into a crowded subway station, hoping to lose the man following him, he understood a terrifying new reality. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world isn't what's in the bag, but the curiosity that made you pick it up in the first place. The real game had just begun. Thank you so much for watching. What would you do if you were in Adam's shoes? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. See you in the next video.